Stay with me as we continue on with the theme of creativity. Only this time it's about amplifying youth voices in the changing world of media and entertainment. Our next unfiltered session under the arts and culture pillar is called Creative Culture Catalysts. Whether it's high-budget dramas, grassroots documentaries, or viral content, the power to rewrite narratives and drive cultural innovation is greater than ever for young people with something to say. To explore what happens when creativity meets technology and how youth can grab new opportunities to get their voices heard, please welcome Grigory Lavrov from Warner Bros. Discover, VP Communications Operations and Corporate Citizenship at Aramco, Hussain Hanbazazah, and leading the conversation, Amir Al-Bahuth.
السلام عليكم واهلا وسهلا فيكم في ليله جميله مليئه بالفن والابداع. Welcome everyone. It's a beautiful evening to see a lot of familiar faces and a lot more new. Tonight we're talking about art and culture, and we have two incredible leaders in this sector from completely different worlds, but they complete each other. One is Mr. Grigory Lavrov, and he's from Warner Bros. Discovery. Hi, everyone. We have him. And we have Mr. Hussain Hanbazazah, who is a pioneer in culture and one of, especially if you're from Saudi Arabia, you know Ithra, Markaz Ithra, and all the incredible programs they have curated over the years. Tonight, we will be talking about something that I think we all youth think about. How is globalization can be utilized in communicating culture? So we start with Mr. Grigory. Warner Bros. Discovery is one of the world's most prominent and impactful media brands. What challenges have you faced when finding a way to communicate that is locally relevant while still culturally pioneering?
Great question. First of all, thanks for inviting me here. Hi, everybody. It's really exciting for me to be here. I think that when we talk about global companies in general, as we are global, we want to be everywhere, right? So it's not easy to be kind of relevant everywhere. That's why I think there are not so many really global media companies, not so many of them. So obviously, when you run a global company, you try to focus on similarities rather than differences. You suddenly remember that we may live in different places, whether it's Saudi Arabia or Australia or Brazil, but the people are often very similar. So we can experience the same emotions. We fear, we laugh, we love, we hate, and that's how that's what we talk about in our content. However, when we come to every specific region, and I will remind you, we want to be everywhere, of course, we take into account the local peculiarities as well. And it can be done in a different way. We have very local propositions in some territories, including in the Middle East, where we have like Fatah Feet, which is a very local Arab food channel. But we also try to tell the global stories with a local twist and in the local language and talking to the local audiences about our global IP. So that's probably the key challenge and also how we approach that.
Incredible. I think this shows that in order to go global, you have to find a cultural insight that you can have similarities or people can relate to at a global level. And this brings us to Mr. Hussain. Why is it important for companies to communicate on a culture and community as well as a business matters?
Well, thank you so much, Amir, for having us today and capitalizing on what my colleague over here said. Culture and community are mutually sustaining. And culture keep and give community the sense of connectivity, of identity, the things that you have spoken about, while communities keep culture alive and growing and remain relevant to our discussion and remain relevant to all generations that we're experiencing, my generation or the next generation and my daughter's generation as well. Now, communicating both is very critical because it will establish a sense of understanding, inspiring, and building that trust between the community and the companies that you have highlighted. For Aramco, and since day one, our impact is not only on the business environment, but also on the community that we work and live in. Aramco established almost 9 decades ago. Our investment in human capital started that day, especially in the infrastructure, and roads, and schools, and education system, and others, and hospitals as well. Nowadays, our investment in human and culture and communities is aligned with Vision 2030 goals. I'll give you a few examples. Under Citizenship, we have a lot of programs that related to human capital and development, especially about the local communities, so they can feel the sense of connectivity and belonging. We built a complete ecosystem for micro-industries with local entities and global entities as well. We have coffee in Jizan, honey in Al-Baha and Asir, date factory in Al-Hassa, Bisht factory that we will inaugurate in less than 2 weeks in Al-Hassa, Taif roses, and all have product that actually being exported locally, aiming to be globally, built by the locals. Amazing. This is culture, this is connectivity. Under Citizenship, we actually also build schools for people with disability to enable them, especially the youth and adult, and which is a very important society that lives here within our community that we need to enable them to be ready for the workforce. Also, as all of you are aware, we're building Aramco Stadium in Al Khobar. It's not only a stadium that will host the World Cup in 34 and the Asian Cup in 27, but also it will be a destination for the community to experience the local and global culture. And of course, we have King Abdulaziz Center for World Culture, a center that was opened 2018. As of today, we hosted 6 million visitors, and it was named as the 100 most visited places in Time magazine. It's a beacon of knowledge, a creativity, and hub that communicate both culture to the community to create that sense of belonging and identity.
That deserves applause,
Thank
honestly.
you.
To create a center at that level is something very, very thoughtful, and most importantly, I love the idea of involving the community from the inception, because all of these products are actually handcrafts, and that is something that goes through generations. So for some entity like Ithra and the center to literally turn it into a product that can go to a global level is a really, really amazing thing, honestly, because for a very long time, people will make or see these handcrafts as something from the past, but now when you can modernize it, package it in a way that you can export to the world, you're not only exporting the heritage or the history, you're actually exporting a product that carries stories.
Sure.
And that takes us to Grigory. Can you share some insight into how, at the very top level, choices are made about the stories that gets and made it to the TV? With both fiction and non-fiction, how do you balance commercial success with artistic integrity while sparking in vital conversations and inspiring action?
Well, that's a very big question. I will try to respond it as kind of concise as possible. So I think I would start with the purpose statement of Warner Brothers Discovery, because if you look at our official purpose statement, it says, we empower creators to dream bold and share stories that shape the world. So, sounds even poetic, I think. And that's the answer, essentially, because we do not even say that we necessarily do things. We empower creators. And the key thing about decision-making is just having a great idea and good story. If you ask head of HBO, Casey Bloys, like how he selects the shows for HBO, he will say that it just should be a good story. And it doesn't necessarily even mean so, and then when we have a good story, good idea, we are very happy to work with creators and support them with resources and budgets and promotion and everything to drive the story because we believe in it. And like a couple of examples, you probably know Game of Thrones TV series. So when the creators of Game of Thrones came to HBO to pitch for the series, they were unknown. They didn't have like 25 super successful projects before that. I even think that they hadn't actually produced any project before they did the Game of Thrones. But HBO believed in this story, and HBO believed in it, and it paid off. We also show a lot of this in our movie slate, especially this year. Like, yes, we have big franchises like Minecraft or Superman, which are very much our commercial vehicles. But we also give space to creators with original ideas, with original stories. And we had a lot of movies this year which are really original, and they were also successful. It's Sinners, it's Weapons, it's One Battle After Another. This is, I think, the kind of secret of that. And it doesn't always work. So it's not like everything that we do is a mega hit. We have to accept that there will be failures. And probably in media, there are more failures than successes. But when you have a big hit, a really new idea, a really original story, it pays off for, it pays for everything. It's not an easy job to find these ideas, but we also lucky to work with a lot of very creative people in our company who have the sense and the smell for this good idea. We also try to replicate it in all regions where we work, including Middle East, of course.
That is incredible, and that's literally the definition of the topic of our talk, which is catalyzing the creative culture. And I believe the power of the story is definitely the core, but sometimes exactly what you mentioned, that empowerment for the creators, knowing that there is a risk, knowing the fact that you might not actually get, an incredible show that will actually make it, but it will actually show a story that's actually powerful. So going into that idea, I know Mr. Hussain, one of your most interesting roles have been leading Ithra. And for those who are not from Saudi, it's the King Abdulaziz Center for World Culture. It's a center. You just actually explained how many incredible initiatives you create. And Ithra obviously provides a huge range of offerings, from youth programs to heritage museums, to film festivals, and more. What kind of decisions making goes into planning Ithra's cultural activities?
Wow, that's a very beautiful question, especially in an audience in a room full of youth. Now, before I answer your question, allow me just for 2 minutes, to tell people the story of Ithra. Ithra, King Abdulaziz Center for World Culture, is not only a center to visit. You said to tell the story is a powerful tool, but for us, content is a very powerful tool. And Ithra is all about content. Content that was created for the youth and the family and the community to enable them to join this platform and to join the industry of culture, creativity, ideation, knowledge sharing, and other aspects as well. Now, Ithra, and a real example of that, we all remember COVID. COVID was a very sad story to all of us. During lockdown, we were challenged as a cultural center, what can we do for the community? And here comes the power of content. Everything that we offered at Ithra went into a digital. Rather than having 1 million visitors to our building, we had 1 million visitors to our platforms, learning from these sessions, be it the program for the youth, for the kids, and others as well. We did a Eid parade. And I remember that moment, the moment that we turned into one neighborhood, we thought the streets will be empty. Everyone from the window were dressing up, laughing, shouting, tearing, and it gave us the sense of community. Now, Ithra, and I hope everyone visit Ithra. Please, whenever you visit Ithra, you don't have to know me or know the team at Ithra. You will experience Ithra as is. Ithra is a cultural center, yet it's not only a museum, a library, a theater, a children's museum, a cinema. Every component of Ithra has a program that contributes to the youth. For example, if you go to the library, yes, we have 400,000 books between physical and digital, but also out of the library, we have the biggest reading competition in the region. We have 48,000 participants across the Arab world wants to participate in this reading competition. We're celebrating the top readers in December 6th in Ithra. Cinema, it's not only a cinema that actually display cultural movies, but also we produce films, and we have classes for those who want to join the industry, from youth all the way to the adult. Our theater is not only a theater that hosts cultural and global shows, but also have classes toward that. Our museum, we have Art Prize, which is the largest in the MENA region. We have residential program. It's a place that takes the Saudis to the global and the global to the Saudis. Now, going back to the meat of your question, what decision we take, at the beginning, we were focusing into bringing people to the Ithra. How many visitors we have, how many people are entering the museum, how many people are experiencing our shows, how many people are visiting the library. Since we have reached 6 million visitors, we just refreshed our KPI. Now we're talking about how can we impact the community and engage them in our program so they can go back home and create that ecosystem that impact not only the household but also the society around them. So when we decide on having a STEM or a science, technology, engineering, math, and Formula One racing or the World Olympic racing between Ithra and Aramco, how can we bring the kid or the youth or the adult into this program, skilling their quality, the soft and the hard as well, so they can go back and contribute to a bigger, larger, and a platform that we have here within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So the KPI shifted, and I encourage all the communities, all the companies or the cultural center to look and analyze those KPIs and the targets and the decision you're taking into not only creating so many programs, but a qualitative program that actually create a societal impact to the community and globally as well.
That is
This
incredible.
is, if I may, just very interesting because I see a parallel in our approach in media as well. When you look at like a media product, whether it's TV channel or especially if it's a streaming platform. So first you focus on numbers. You want to have more subscribers. You kind of expand. But at some point you switch your KPI to engagements, to kind of quality time. You want people to spend more time with you. You want people to spend more quality time with you. So it's kind of very interesting how these things are the same, even though they are somewhat different in the life. Yeah, really
That's incredible, and it's really, I think, some basic knowledge of getting the awareness, get as many people to know where you exist, then get the kind of engagement, recognition, and most importantly, which I think is the next one, is the loyalty and building the community, building the advocacy level of what you're presenting and how people feel like they own. Like somebody who's a fan of a show, they feel like they own the show.
True.
Somebody who goes to an incredible course at Ithra, they would go out and talk about it. And I know some of my friends who've done some of the programs, and they talk about it. And I think this is an incredible level of creating impact that people feel like they belong to the message and they carry it to the next. And I think this takes us to our final question to Mr. Grigory. What advice can you offer young storytellers and creatives who are getting started? And how might they get their foot to the door some way in terms of getting their stories into national or international screens?
Well, I think that the first thing that I would suggest these young creators to do is to kind of check your motivation. I mean, why do you want to be on TV? Because if your motivation is like, I want to be on television, it's not necessarily the right one. Because first of all, I think that successful creators now do not necessarily need TV in terms of reach bigger audiences. If you look at the numbers of audience reach and engagement of some of the biggest creators, they often are on par or even higher than kind of TV numbers. And also probably creators have more creative freedom, like they don't get the notes from studios or from TV channel, like change this, change that. So, and also, it also needs to be kept in mind that it doesn't necessarily, the success in creative space does not necessarily guarantee success on TV. There have been several projects kind of that when creators came to television and did projects there, and they just didn't work because it's just slightly different worlds. However, it's not that I'm trying to discourage people to do that, but if your motivation is not, I want to be on TV, but it's like, I have this story and I cannot tell you through Instagram Reels. It has to be a movie, or it has to be a premium series, or it has to be an entertainment show on TV, then we're happy to help. Then we're happy to step in and, as I said, empower the creators who are ready to dream bold.
I love it. I think this reminds me of the importance of choosing the right platform. Every platform has an identity, has a character, and every creator has that motivation to show it in a way. And exactly what you said, the creators usually develop over time. They start in one format, they go to the next, and continuously go up to achieve bigger goals, and most importantly, deliver their story to the right audience in the right way, in the right format, and at the right time.
And we also constantly kind of monitoring the space. So of course we're looking at what's happening in creator space. Who are the best creators? Who we think may bring their stories to big screen? So it's like we're watching the space.
Yeah. Amazing.
That's why we did the collaboration with Discovery. They took Ithra as a creation, and there's a great movie called The Great Build by Discovery. It talks about the story of building Ithra. I encourage everyone to watch it as well.
That's amazing. I will watch it for sure. Our final question, Mr. Hussain. How would you encourage young people to engage with telling their own stories on both national and international stage?
This is, I have a daughter who's 13 years old, and I always remind myself that the platform that they have right now is totally different than my generation. And the youth within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which is the majority of the population, they are not only telling their story, but they are creating stories as well. We are here in Riyadh creating a story. I'm sure another community is creating another story in Jeddah and in Sharqiya and all the cities as well. One, for the youth, create an impactful story. And this is how you can tell your story. Engage with the right community, engage with the right platforms, not necessarily the perfect platform, because if you wait for the perfect moment, you will not be able to tell your story. The right platform, the right time, the right moment, a very impactful story, not only a content that or I want to be on a platform, I want to be on a stage. What story, what value you as a young individual contributing not only to your family but to the society is things that you need to check so you can be able to tell the story. Once you have that story, the platforms will be opened for you. So I encourage everyone to think of that story. That's from the youth perspective, but also from the companies, the societies, the cultural centers, is to create that platform, allowing the youth to do. It doesn't have to be big, it doesn't have to be massive. Again, the right opportunity, the small amount, building on it will actually create that greater impact that we are all as companies and also as the youth society are looking for.
I can't agree more. I think we're at a time where the technology is no longer the barrier. The story is what you really have to craft the most. If the story is powerful, if you have the guts to go and tell it in the most authentic way, in the right platform where you know the audience are thirsty to hear it, and most importantly, find the right platforms, whether you're building a community or you're creating a show, that can catalyze and help you and even fast track the build of your show or the telling of your story for the right audience. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, our incredible speakers, for your experience. And please go and tell your story.
Thank you.
Thank you.